caught the wind of a post-war technological surge. Drawn crudely by Dick Calkins, it deployed spacecraft of some ingenuity, a leap of faith well past propellers and jets into a future still not yet here, with homemade rocket ships and interplanetary war. Artist and illustrator Stephen Stiles has commented on the impact of Buck's ludicrous, rather adolescent adventures in branding SF of any kind as a sort of children's playground of the mind. For far too many years, we suffering science fiction aficionados were confronted with the descriptive and dismissive phrase, "Oh, that crazy Buck Rogers stuff." When applied to the works of, say, Robert Heinlein, Isaac Asimov, or Philip K. Dick, it could be pretty galling. Now the phrase is, "Oh, like Mr. Spock," which is, of course, he added sardonically, a vast improvement. Star Trek did indeed drive a simplified form of futurist SF into the minds and hearts and even mini-skirted couture of many TV and eventually movie viewers from 1966 to the 21st century. It spawned an endless sausage factory of paperbacks set in variants of the Trek universe, some of this sharecropping surprisingly well written and deftly handled, but all of it crippled by the need to stick pretty much within what had gone before. The same triumph of old ideas handsomely decorated with special effects and scenes drawn from SF magazine covers of the 1940s and 1950s infused the Star Wars franchise from 1977 to this day. Science fiction proper, by contrast, while now often retreated into safe cliched ruts, has the capacity to generate novelty, not just comic book inventions like Buck's war cry, "Roaring rockets," and his girlfriend Wilma's flying belt. SF is able to ask genuinely startling questions and then to pose even more startling answers to them. It did so in the mode of empirical and theoretical science rather than, say, fantasy or chrome-plated history reruns. There is a term for this process familiar to philosophers and physicists, perhaps coined by Einstein, who was a master of the form. Gedankenexperiments, or conceptual trials undertaken purely in imagination, mental modeling of situations and outcomes that have never yet happened, but can cast a searching light on problems and phenomena that science has not yet resolved. So, the expert dreamers, as SF writer and editor Frederick Pohl called them, catch the scent of new notions and project possible outcomes that might change the world we know, or at least challenge our certainties. Could humans voyage to the moon, or deep beneath the ocean? For centuries, these were enthralling speculations enjoyed by the curious, but by the 19th century, Verne and others witnessed all around them the innovations of the Industrial Revolution. On this basis, they built imaginative fiction, often quite wrong in detail, like Verne's gun-fired lunar ship that would have crushed its crew, embodying this sense of an unleashed future. Decades before President John Kennedy promised to land humans on the moon, scientifically informed SF writers such as Arthur C. Clarke and Robert Heinlein, and illustrators such as Chesley Bonestell, were pondering both the visceral thrills of space voyages of exploration and the mathematically precise science of orbital mechanics that made the stories much more than easy hand-waving. As SF developed what I call its megatext, the virtual collective encyclopedia of typical tropes, terminology, characteristic plot moves, favorite locations, weapons, tools, psychological shifts, new cultures, etc. See my Reading by Starlight, Routledge, 1995. Story-making became elaborate yet often non-declarative. That is, grasping the meaning and impulse of an SF story did not require detailed conscious awareness of these narrative devices because the tropes had become shared commonplaces even as they presented the purportedly unfamiliar, the shock of the new. So narrative nudge